Oh, outliers. Hello there. Niiamah Ashong here. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. I say me still, but I really mean us because today we have five amazing outliers joining us on the Outliers Edge Roundtable. You're going to hear how these outliers all continue to lift up themselves, lift up others, and continue to uplift what they do in the world. And so today, I'd love to make sure that you get to know these outliers here. Be ready to have your thoughts provoked, to have your viewpoints challenged, and ultimately to leave here like growing as an outlier in a way that only we can. All right, so why don't we get a chance to see who's all in here? Well, Rob, would you mind just letting us know, saying hello and letting us know about the game you're playing right now?
You bet. My name is Rob Aigner. I'm in Los Angeles, California. I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I have a podcast called Clear Choices, and I'm soon to be a documentary filmmaker.
Ooh, the soon to be. I love that. Outliers, right? At this moment here, we have like a time capsule of things when it comes with podcasts. So if you're listening to this years later, look Rob up, go watch that documentary, right? Because like we're gonna keep on keeping on here. All right. Thank you so much, Rob. Great to have you here. Skyler, let's go ahead. Tell us about you and the game you're playing.
Yeah, Skyler Fleming in Southern Idaho, and I'm playing the game of personal finance podcast host, helping people do better with their money.
I'm glad that you're here. I'm excited to play with this here and see how some of the thinkings continue to evolve. Let's go to Simone next.
Hello, outliers. I'm so happy to be here today. I feel like this is going to be a real good conversation. I'm holding it down for the ladies. I'm Simone Swanson. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I am a follower and believer of Jesus. I am the daughter, the only daughter of Steve and Dorinda Swanson. And I say that because it's connected to the game that I get to play as a messenger and connector. At a social sector consulting firm alongside some amazing change makers, and then also on Soul to Soul podcast as the host of the podcast, where I'm talking to people who are on the path to becoming. That is much like the outliers that are listening to this podcast. You may be the first in your family or the only in your family, and you want to connect to purpose. So we on our podcast. We talk all about that, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you here, Simone. Allies, you see, we don't mess around when it comes to this here, right? Roy, why don't you give us a chance to get to know you in the game you're playing?
Hey guys, thank you for the invitation. My name is Roy, and I am a digital marketer by profession. And I also host the Keep Going podcast with Roy. And I help people in their adulting life to become better adults. And I also help people to really level up their freelancing careers.
All right. Thank you so much, Roy. And Octavio, bring us home.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Octavio, the host of Deport Entertainment, which is a platform where we import knowledge as entertainment. We also it's not only a podcast, we get into the filmmaking, different ways of bringing in knowledge and, and being entertained through this and learning at the same time.
Well, I appreciate that there, and I appreciate each of you being here. Um, you know, all of our conversations end up being emergent. We like to see where things go, and even just in your introductions, y'all have gotten me thinking. Octavio said it's not only, and it made me think about the juxtapositions, the way that we take what we do and we continue to add on in it. So I'm curious for each of you here. Can you each speak to like one element of what you do in your business or your podcast where you're able to, where most people would think it's one thing, but there's actually a couple different things happening either beneath the surface or like along with it. All right. So what's something in your business or podcast that like is more than meets the eye? And let's go here. I actually I'll go around. We'll start off in Rob. I think I remember the order. If I can, we'll do it in the same way so the outliers get a chance to cement in everyone's voice a little bit. Rob, why don't we come to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask that question is that when people think of real estate, they think of property and neighborhoods and values and interest rates and all kinds of factors. But ultimately, all of it, managing the agents that are in my business and managing the clients and all the various ancillary businesses, it's all about people and understanding personalities, understanding how to influence people, motivate people, get the most out of situations. So it's really a people business, and the real estate is just sort of the shell around it.
I like that a lot. Thank you, Rob. Why don't we go to Skyler? What's more than meets the eye?
Yeah, when I start thinking about my podcast and like what goes beyond that is just really helping open up the whole aspect, like Rob said, the people aspect of it is that's really where the personal and personal finance comes out, is just helping people see that there's more than just math to our money. I always like to say if money was just math, we'd have it all calculated. It would be easy, but there's so much more behind it. And then on my show, I like to try to tell people's personal stories, those things they've gone through. That one of my favorite questions is, what's your first money memory? Because that really gets to the heart of like what begins to unlock and help you explain how you handle money. So just helping connect with people.
I like this. I like this here. Let's go to Simone.
Yeah, this is a great question. When I think about Soul to Soul podcast is really what it says, two souls connecting on a very deep level. I think when we talk about aligning with our purpose, there's this big word that we hear, you hear purpose, and there's like a lot of feelings that come with it. But really, when we talk about purpose, we think it's that flashy thing. It's about the money. It's about the car. It's all the things, growing up, I'm a millennial. I grew up with the MTV shows, how to be a millionaire or whatever, the millionaire shows. So you think it's this flashy thing, but outliers know, I'm sure, as soulmates know, I call our on Soul to Soul podcast, they're called soulmates. We know that the journey and the path to becoming, there's lots of scratches and scrapes and bruises and war battles along the way. And so what I want to do is normalize that process. Let's talk about, what did it really take to get to where you are? What were the sacrifices that you had to make? What were the lonely nights that you had to have, especially for people who are the first or the only in their family? So let's not glamorize the process. We want a little bit of glamour, but let's also normalize and recognize the realness of, being on the path to doing what you were called to do.
Thank you, Simone. Rory, I'm going to come to you on this one here. But why don't you keep us going?
As for me, what goes beyond my podcast is that I get to journey with different people, especially highlighting the struggles, the battles that they go through in life. And one reason that I named it Keep Going, it's because throughout the pandemic, we were held by our fears, by so many losses during that time. But when you come to think about it, it is always about the resilience of people when they keep pushing, they keep going in life. That's what really motivates. That's what really motivates me to keep going, and seeing the people that I journey with through the podcast, through the community that I am part of. It brings you so much joy and fulfillment to see them grow and elevate, just like uh, all of you here, guys. And seeing people going from one level to another level is such a joy to see. And that's what makes me keep going in life also.
Thank you for that, Roy. And Octavio, bring us home on this one.
Yeah, so I feel that there's a lot that we can learn from every time we have someone new in the podcast, and kind of like what we have here. Everyone has a different focus, and then when we can all like basically continue growing and basically, just um, the fact that we have a real estate agent here, we have money podcast, we have a soul podcast, we have a inspirational podcast. It's how we can benefit from each other, and how much we're just helping each other, bring each other up. So I just it's just more than a podcast, right?
All right, thanks for playing out there, y'all. And for this next one here, I'm going to go like true roundtable style. I'm going to put something into our space, and then I'm not going to really call on anyone. I'm going to give us a chance to look at like maybe 3, 4 people to respond to it. But like we're just gonna talk. And what I want to look at right now is what I'll call the double-edged sword. I was going to call it something else, but I was like, Outlier's edge. We can go with double edge. We'll play with that, right? So the double-edged sword. So the double-edged sword of greatness. Let's put it that way. And what's coming here for me is like each of you have your own outlier advantage, something that you do that like comes easy to you, that let like when you actually put it into play, it actually has helped your business, your podcast, and the people around you grow. I'm curious for you if you can share with us like what's that edge that you have, and then what's the other side of the edge, so the double edge, where it's almost like if it's done in excess, it actually ends up working against you, right? And so I love for us to speak to that because I think it will help outliers out there be able to identify some of the things that they're seeing or that they do, lean in more of where they are, and then also capture some of the things that work against them. I think that this question would also be a little bit more complete as you all have the roundtable here. I think it'd be more complete if you talk about like how you like either set up systems or like mitigate the the potential negative consequences of the other edge. All right. Sound good as a question, y'all? Y'all understand where I'm coming from? All right, cool. Just feel free, unmute your mic, and then let's just have an open discussion. Anyone want to start us off on it? I see you, Skyler.
Yeah, Rob was first to unmute, so I'd like to give him the floor. He was ready.
Thank you,
It's all
Skyler.
good. Yeah, I was just going to say, kind of sticking with the theme I was talking about, just people relating to people. And I think the double-edged sword is that I consider, and I've been told I'm someone who has sort of a high emotional IQ. I'm kind of can read people well and don't always need words to kind of know where someone's at. And that's great for my business, when I'm dealing with, hundreds of realtors and whatnot in my business and clients of theirs. And the challenge is that when you have that kind of connectivity with other people and understanding of other people, then you kind of also feel heavily on the other end of things. When things are more negative or challenging, then you're carrying a lot of, or at least I carry a lot of baggage along with that. And, things kind of land on me harder. So I have to have a pretty resilient process on coping with that weight that I carry often.
Would you mind like letting us know a little bit about like that resilient process, just to like, 'cause a lot of people in my world identify as empaths, and I don't know if that's exactly where you would go with this or not, but like
Sure.
there's a lot of similarity in that.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of things, so it's not always the same process every time, but my toolkit includes journaling, talking to key people in my life that I feel like will give me a good perspective. Almost always some physical activity, working out of some kind to help process that. And as I get older, more and more, I really value my time on my own to kind of think and process. One of the offices that I own requires me to do a 2-hour drive, which I do once a week. So that's 4 hours each way. I have a lot of time to think. And so it's things like that I'm like, oh, some people go, oh, wow, you have to drive 2 hours to Santa Barbara. That sucks. I'm like, not for me. It's good. I got 4 hours on my own. I need it. So those are my main go-tos.
Yeah, that 4 hours is not for me. I'll jump in here with kind of my thoughts, but that was my first one is no thank you to that. But my thoughts around kind of my double-edged sword is I'm solid with technology. Like I can pick up a computer program, and that's allowed me with my podcast and money to build out good systems. But then if you ask my wife, I probably try to change it every 10 to 15 days. And that's the other side of the sword is that I can just sit here and keep building out, changing platforms, things like that. I start using almost too much technology. And I guess to keep the people angle going, that leads to me not finding people to put in those systems or to offer those systems to. So getting out there and networking more is really a lot of my solution to try to curb myself from continuing to change the systems that I've developed.
I love that. Rob, I'm also an empath, so I'm right there with you. I think what I would add to this is really thinking about, honestly, it's being an outlier. It is the my whole life I've always just had this dream or vision of doing something that wasn't tangible. It wasn't a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. I always wanted to be a talk show host. And it wasn't just about the glamour of being a talk show host. It was about the deep connecting, listening people's hearts, their stories, and what were you put on earth to do? And how can our connection spark something between us to get us deeper or further into our purpose? So while it's beautiful to be this outlier in ways, I think the challenge is there are many dark nights because you're in I'll say I've throughout my life, there have been moments of isolation. Am I crazy? Like, can I really do that thing? And how did I really just do that? So what I would say to outliers that are in that space of, should I keep going or should I, do the ordinary thing? I would say three things. There's three things I like giving numbers of things in three. So the first thing I would say is get your mind right. If your mind isn't right, ain't nothing gonna be right. So whether that's meditating, praying, whatever you need to do to get your mind right, that's number one. Number two, get your tribe right. I am so blessed I'm an only child, but I have the most amazing, beautiful friends that strengthen me, encourage me, and just are that safety net for me when I need. So get your tribe right. So people who are also outliers or people who are soulmates on the path to doing whatever it is in this particular season that they've been called to do. And the third thing I would say is get your environment right. So if you are, and it doesn't mean, I don't mean in terms of where you live, I mean literally your environment, where you lay your head. If it is complete chaos, there's no way that you'll be able to continue to level up. You got to clean out those crazy clothes everywhere, whatever you have in your environment, whatever that means to you. So number one, get your mind right. Number two, get your tribe right. And number three, get your environment right. We are outliers for a reason. We are soulmates for a reason, and we got to keep leveling up. Let's not stop.
I love this. Yeah, I'm letting some space come in here just because I love this element of like getting the things right, one, and then like that the dark nights, the feeling of isolation, the feeling of like am I onto something or am I crazy? How long do I stay with it if that's the case here? Roy, Octavio, I'll be curious for you all. Like, how have you been navigating things where you're just like, am I an outlier or am I like actually like an outsider? Like this just does not work here. Curious how y'all think about it, and then we'll just anyone else that has any thoughts on it, just unmute and let's go.
Okay, I can jump on it. So are you talking about asking? It's a second question, right? About being an outlier.
It's a second question. They're all related here, but like so
Yeah.
if you want to go into the double edge, go with the double edge. But like I am curious about like how you navigate that element of being like, ooh, is this maybe too much, or am I too out there, so on and so forth, or at least the dark nights as I think Simone was calling.
Absolutely, I feel that as an outlier, you learn or you notice it as at a young age, like you're different, and then you just grow up and you just start taking your own path. Of course, there's gonna be dark nights, like Simone mentioned, but it's also like she said, like I'm gonna piggyback on what she said, like the you find your tribe along the way. You find the people along the way. It's always, you know, you, the universe, God works in mysterious ways. It's always people that are gonna come to you like this. Everyone that's here, everything that I'm hearing is music to my ears right now. So I appreciate everything that is being said. So yeah, it's just believing that there's a purpose for everything. There's a reason for everything. So that's how you're able to not feel like an outsider. You feel like being an outlier is, yeah, it's like I love the name, the outlier of your brand. So yeah, I feel that it's just knowing that there's a reason for everything. And
Thank you for that, Octavio. How about you, Roy? Anything come to mind for you?
I really love the idea that sometimes you would feel like you are an outsider, but in reality, you have that within you that you are an outlier. Yes, I just like and love what Simon said earlier, that you really have to find the right tribe with you. You need to really find those people who can journey with you, because sometimes we feel like I am someone who is an outsider. I cannot do it. I cannot reach my potential. But in reality, when you have those people with you, journeying with you, encouraging you that you can do this, you keep going on in life, you will definitely reach the path where you are supposed to be. And it's just normal for human beings that we feel like we are nothing. We feel like we are not supposed to be in this place. But the truth is, we are more than that. We have that potential to really unleash. And it's really up to us on how we respond to those moments that we feel like we are nothing. We feel like we are really crazy. But in reality, if you respond in a way that you are going to reach those goals of yours, your aspirations in life, nothing's gonna stop you. As long as you respond the right way, you surround yourself with the right people.
Now y'all got me thinking here. Because now we're talking about the people around you, right? And one of the things we do here at Outliers is like I bring together amazing outliers. We have like the Outliers Edge Guild, which is our free membership that lets people continue on in that and they get those spaces. But there's also I'm very curious about how y'all have been finding things and what like finding your people, especially Skyler, I'm thinking about you right now. You said that you were out in I forget,
Idaho.
you're in Idaho, right? And so
Yeah,
I'm like,
middle of nowhere.
oh, yeah, all right, cool. Like you said it, not me. So like I'm really curious, like how you find it. You said I'm networking, I'm doing this stuff.
Mhm.
How do you go about finding your people? And I guess the way I like to look at this is like I have a belief that if you're the most interesting person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So how do you go about finding ways to put yourself in spaces and places where you are actually lifted up as opposed to the one that's being lifted?
Yeah, for me, it's just been reaching out to people who are where I want to be. So those financial podcasts that I know you've heard of, like the big players, like just trying to get involved with people that have been on their show. Honestly, like that's right after this, I have an interview with someone who's on like one of the biggest financial independence podcasts, and it's I think through that, like realizing I'm not going straight to the biggest names, I'm not going straight to the top of the food chain in my industry, but connecting with those people who are kind of already in the place I want to be, and just doing it virtually even works really well. But also there's a FinCon creators conference coming up soon that I'm going to. So making sure you're finding those places where the people you want to be with are, and then sacrifice some money and get out there and go to it.
Nice. I like the word. I would like, if you don't mind, I'm going to put in the word invest that money, right? Because I feel like
Mhm.
it does. I'm very big on the return on investment, So, but I love this here, Skylar. Like you put yourself in those places, and you make it a point to. I just realized like, well, that's one of the benefits of having a podcast, right? Like you get a chance to
That's
keep
yes,
like
100%.
yeah, yeah. I would whether outliers you listen to this, you're like, I don't want to be on a podcast. I don't have a voice that's made for radio or podcasting. But like, there's some other thing. There's something about having a platform that you can invite others to be in that I think opens up some incredible doors.
Can I just
Yeah, please,
interject
Rob,
really quick
please.
on that? I was just going to say that, so I'm at a large company, national company franchise, Keller Williams. And so I own a number of franchises. And we also have a coaching division. And the coaching division, I either coach other owner operators or I coach realtors. And it's like a per hour kind of fee that you get. And it's decent money, but it's like not as good as owning your own business. And I coach, and a lot of people ask me who do the same work I do, own and operate offices. They ask me like, why do you coach? And I go, well, it's not for the money. It's because of all these people I meet from all over the country, and I'm able to take one idea from one person and feed it to the other, or I take one of them, and just that synergy thing. So it's kind of in alignment with what you guys are talking about.
Personally, I love this here. Yeah, Octavia, please go on.
Oh, okay. Yes. I want to say the question about how you find those people. I feel like you with having a platform, like wanting to have a podcast where you can like meet people. It's also bringing in like something that you love doing. For example, me, I love poetry, and so I go to poetry events. I do poetry myself, and I meet a lot of people. And right there, I have a lot of people that I network with that that would be love to be in a podcast. So I play soccer as well. I love soccer, and I'm a I coach soccer, so I meet so many people that are in a circle that everyone wants a platform where they can share their ideas. So it's just doing what you love, and if you pursue that, you're gonna find the people. You gotta find that tribe. You gotta find those people.
Right. I think I see there's something with it, Roy.
Yeah, I actually love the idea of whenever you network with other people, just like most of us here, we have a common ground, and that's our love for podcasting and sharing our passion projects, our motivations in life. And it comes back to the point that we are all eager to share something. We are eager to add value to other people. And once you put yourself in a position that I want to add value to people, it will spark within you to learn from others as well. That's why we try to invite others into our podcast and we try to learn from them, because podcasting allowed us to be in a position where we can learn from others and help them as well to elevate their platforms. I think that's the one of the best things when it comes to podcasting and meeting with different people.
I love that. If I could just add, I
Of
think
course, Simone.
the other thing I was just going to say about finding ways to expand your community or meet new people. I think in this world, we're so like in our phones on social media, or, are connected in those places where it's hard to have true deep connections. Like there are studies that talk about this particular time that we're living in is the most like, folks are feeling isolated or feeling lonely. So I think recognizing the fact that many of us are experiencing chronic loneliness or isolation. So having that in your mind is not just you. Sometimes when you're doing your work, you're on your path, you're doing your thing, it can feel like it's just you. So I love what someone said earlier. Octavio, I think it was you that said, like, go visit the places where you enjoy, like follow the path of what you enjoy doing, whether it is exercise or if it's you're curious about, the finance world, whatever it is. Put yourself in a space to show up and see what happens. Like it's like a mindset shift of adopting this mindset of like curiosity. For me, it's I won't say it's easy, but it comes a little more natural because I light up in spaces like this. And when I say I light up, like I love connecting with people on a deep level, like beyond the, hey, how are you doing? Like I love hearing what makes people tick. I love hearing about people's like life stories. So as a Scorpio, naturally, I just like to go deep. So, but for those of us who, it can be challenging. Like I also work from home. So I recognize the challenge of, just not being used to being in physical spaces. But I would just say challenge yourself to be curious and to follow your energy, your interests, and see what happens.
You just mentioned follow your energy, Simone, and what was something that was going on in my mind here, which was when I was thinking about playing soccer, or Rob, when you were talking about like I coached to like meet the people, and there was something in there where I was like, I feel like this is as outliers, we have to put a lot of energy out into the world, right? There's like we're not walking down paths that other people have laid out for us in easy, where it's so like you're you have to spend energy, exert energy to get places. And so I would love to just like open up this conversation. A lot of times I talk to people that are talking about productivity and so on and so forth. And I think that at a certain point, you get to a place where it's like, all right, but do you even have the energy to go and be productive? Do you have the energy to go do it? So I'm curious about how you all manage your energy, how you all look at things like that, especially I think as we play at higher and higher echelons. I find that energy management becomes more advantageous than productivity management. There's but so much you can get. Is anyone feeling like called to speak on this?
I'm gonna go ahead and start and speak for the ladies listening. So for us as women and people in general, I think I think I'm saying I'll speak for the ladies because we often show up in spaces and maintain multiple relationships as nurturers and just bringing that kind of lens to the spaces that we occupy. And I love this question of like, how do you, if I'm hearing it correctly, like, how do you fill your own cup if as you're like, you know, where do you find the energy to sort of keep going? I love that. And I think for me, the way that question resonates in this particular season that I'm in is recognizing that sometimes it's okay to rest. Rest is okay. And it's hard because we are so in this like grind culture where it's like, okay, it's like, it's 7 o'clock and it's like, oh, you just waking up? Like, yeah, I just woke up. It's 7 o'clock. Like, so I think just kind of being in tune with what you need in this moment. So if you need rest, recognizing that rest is fuel that will help you go longer and further in the future. And so I don't want to make this sound like something that's like so like, you know, ethereal, but truly recognizing that if you're in a season of rest, it is okay. And then, but recognizing, okay, let me make sure that I keep moving at some point, but I just want to put out there that to just to kind of reframe our thinking around what we're supposed to be doing or what somebody else is doing on social media, like I'm not doing enough. You will burn yourself out if you go that path. So I am like an advocate for resting where you need.
I'll add on to that before I do. Simone, I'm a Scorpio. Octavio, I have a soccer coaching license. I just want to put that out there.
I knew I liked you.
But in terms of that, so I agree with everything Simone said, and also kind of some of the things I talked about in terms of taking care of myself in my last question, I think are the same answer I would give here. The only pivot I would give is that a lot of it's about conserving energy, like choosing what people to engage with, what people to say, or what things to say no to. And just having leverage, you know, being, you know, I think a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of, you know, outliers tend to try to do it all themselves. And I'm very much like, this is something I say a lot when I'm coaching people. I say, you know, I'd rather you do 10 things and get a B grade than do one thing and get an A plus. So sometimes you just got to be willing to like, I'm going to get a B, and how I'm going to get a B is I'm going to have this person do it for me. It's not going to be an A plus, but I'm going to get 10 things done and I won't be as tired.
This year. Outliers, like one second, just check in with that and see how that landed. Like I actually had like a an inner response to that one day. I was like, that feels counter to how I've been thinking about things. So Rob, thanks for bringing that in there. Like I can see why your clients get a lot with you all. Like y'all are bringing the fire. Skylar, I think you were going to say something. Do you want me to come in?
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to jump in here. I love the idea of letting other people get the B plus work instead of the A work. That's something that I think every outlier struggles with as they're really getting going. Is you're like, I want to make sure everything has my like chef's kiss on it kind of thing. And that's just like not going to reach the most people. But also in the same vein as taking rest is understanding that like tough, unmotivated days happen. Like there's been days where I'm like, I got so much on my to-do list, but it's just not happening today. And if I keep trying to make it happen, it's just going to be low quality. It's not going to be good. And then you take a quick look at things and you're like, oh, I can easily do this tomorrow or reschedule it or ask someone to help me, especially. So there's just so many ways that everything will work out. It'll be fine. You don't need to be super hard on yourself when you're kind of trudging through those days, those dark nights, as we mentioned earlier.
Roy, is there something you want to put in?
I think when it comes to conserving your energy, it is really important for us to take note of we really have to choose our battles wisely. Especially there are a lot of opportunities that may come our way, and whenever we think about opportunities, we want to accept them right away. But it is important that whenever we say no, there's wisdom into it. Especially we have to contextualize the things that uh, when it comes to grabbing the opportunities that will be suitable for our current situations as well. And resting will make you sustain the things that you are currently doing, whether that's podcasting or your business. And that's why it's important for us to slow down in this life. And I have this tendency to really hustle hard, but it's one of the things that I realized lately, that I'm just a human being, and I cannot force myself to overwork and reach my goals within a short time of uh in life. And I really enjoyed the other thoughts of uh the other outliers here.
Yeah, sometimes I think like you all like are perfectly constructed just for me. I'm like, I feel like I'm bringing everyone together for each other and outliers, and then you all are like, it's all right to rest, and I'm like, oh man, this is hitting, man, this is hitting. Octavio, I saw you unmuted. Go ahead, please bring something in, and then we'll start wrapping up
Yeah.
the conversation.
So going into conserving your energy, it's also getting rid of energy leakers, as in certain things that are just wasting your energy, that are taken away from the when having that energy that you need to have to do the things that you love. And I struggle with this, so I've been resting a lot all this month. Trying to regain my energy and trying to improve be more disciplined. We can talk about nutrition as well. Making sure that we're working on what we consume. We're more cognizant on what we consume, not only what we eat, but also what we like. Our phone can be can take a lot of time away from us. But yeah, just getting we have to be more aware of like what's taking our energy away in a negative way. So I wanted to add.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything else you want to put on this? We're going to start wrapping up, but I want to make sure that like if there's any other thing to bring in, we bring it in now. All right. It looks like we're feeling pretty good on this here. So what I want to do is I wanted to actually have like be able to have like a soft landing rather than just like trying to squeeze it all in. So we're going to start wrapping up our conversation here. Outliers, if you listen to this here, you're going to find that I'm going to ask each of our esteemed outlier guests to share an insight that you have. And the insights, the way that this works here is like we've been sharing a lot of things outwardly to them. Those I would call outsights. Now, I'd love to like for you to help us see an insight that you got from any part of this experience, maybe even before we hit record. But I look at this here. Part of why I like to do this is it gives us a chance to be able to like actually codify this moment, because I never want any moment to go by that it's not of value. But the other side of it is that I think it's a practice of getting distinctions being like I see y'all as leaders, I see y'all as masters along or on the path of masteries, masters and on the path of mastery. So I find like there's that component of being able to discern like the nuance of a moment. And so, in a bit, I'm going to ask each of you to share an insight that you got from this conversation, from or any part of this conversation that you have. And it is totally okay if you're like, I got no insights. Totally fine too, right? And outliers, when we do this, before we go to them, I want you to take some time right now to think for yourself. What's something that you got from this conversation, and just give yourself that chance to check in with yourself right here, and see how you want to grow. And once you have that, I want you to think of one other person who you think could also grow as a result of this conversation. And then please go let them know about the impact this convo had on you and share the episode with them. Right? If each of us just share, you can put it on your social media, that's fine. But if you found one person you said, hey, I think that you would really benefit from listening to this, I think we would all get there. It would all work out. So I want to put that into place. What's your insight and who do you want to share this with? Go and do that with them. Now let's go ahead and wrap up our roundtable here. I'm going to start off with Rob. If you can share an insight you have, and then let us know how we can go deeper in a journey with you, how we can continue to connect with you going forward.
Sure. Well, I got a lot from a lot of you, and a lot to think about. One of the things I didn't talk much about, and I'm just going to do it very briefly, is my
Please.
podcast. So, both my parents are Holocaust survivors, and that spurred me on to create this podcast called Clear Choices, which is essentially kind of very in alignment with the theme of today's conversation, which is just people overcoming difficult things and coming out on the positive side of that. So all the people I've interviewed, two of them were my parents when my father was still alive. And then there's all these other people that have overcome things. And I bring that up because as a driven, entrepreneur and a father and a soccer coach and all these other things, it is really hard to slow down sometime. And so what Simone was talking about giving myself rest, I do give myself rest, but I probably never lack guilt around it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to rest. I know I need it. I'm smart enough, old enough to understand I need this. And I feel like crap about it because I should be doing the 50,000 things on the list. So I think just giving myself more permission to slow down and rest.
I appreciated it, Rob. And if you want us, if we're going to stay connected with you, we can check out the podcast. Is there any other way that you would like us to do it?
Yeah, Clear Choices podcast, and I would also say there's I'm like I said, I'm working on a documentary. It's called Plight, the docuseries, and that's got an Instagram link, Plight the docuseries. So that would be the other way.
All right, thank you so much, here, Rob. Let's go to you, Roy. What's an insight you got from this conversation, and how can people stay connected with you?
I think if there's something that I got from this conversation is we all have a story to tell. And it's amazing to hear from everyone here sharing their own stories, in which when you come to think about it, if you try to see it in a first glance, we feel like we don't have anything to share here. But to be honest, when everyone starts speaking, there's a lot of wisdom that you can get from one another. And it's a joy to see, to really hear from these amazing people here in this podcast right now. And it makes me want to keep pushing, especially in doing podcasting in a better way, to improve myself as a podcaster, as a digital marketer. And you can check out my podcast, Keep Going with Roy Caturla, on Spotify and other podcasting platforms. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Niiamah, that you have given us.
I'm glad you're here. Thanks so much for making the time for this, Roy. Why don't we go to Skyler and then Simone?
Yeah, my insight is that the saying "time flies when you're having fun" is definitely true. I don't know how it's been an hour, yet here we are. So this has been great. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to so many new people. But my insight, I think, is in line with Rob's, and I'm going to schedule myself time off. Like, I'm going to put something in my calendar instead of, it always feels like it just comes up. I'm going to go throw a day on there that says nothing and then stick to it. So that's going to be my main takeaway, is scheduling myself a chance to take a break and not feel like I have to keep pushing it and pushing it. So yeah, that's I'm looking forward to that day already. But you can connect with me at Money Talk with Skyler Fleming. It's the same name on every social, but the podcast is Money Talk with Skyler Fleming, and so is my website. So love to talk to people about money. If anyone listening wants to talk about money, come on my show.
Love it, love it. And Rob just put something in here. Rob, why don't you say this out loud, and then we'll go with it, Simone.
I just said, as you do your 2025 goal setting, just put in your vacations first.
Yeah, schedule around them. Thanks for that, Simone.
I agree, Skyler. I don't know how it's already an hour, but I'm just so grateful for this time, for this moment, for this connection, for this soul connection with with all of you. The insight that I guess that I would share is that, or just the thing that keeps coming up, we've all said it, rest. I think to make a connection, it's this thought around rest as a pathway to keep going. If folks are listening, no matter where you are in your journey, if you are, you've launched your business and now, you're in the phase of, there are things, you feel like there are some attacks coming your way and you don't know how to keep going. You don't know if you don't have funds to kind of keep you going, whatever the thing is. I'm just hearing this permission to rest, and the purpose is to rest. And I'll the insight that I'll share is that I'm actually in a season of rest myself. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I could say it and actually smile. but I've recognized that season of rest is so important for me to be able to keep going. It is the foundation of me being able to keep going and keep my podcast going and keep the different things that I know are on my journey ahead. So if you, no matter where you are, outliers in your journey, in your work, recognize that rest is okay, and just think about the rest as fuel for you to keep going and keep thinking bigger. Don't think small, think big. This podcast, you can go through the various episodes and see and hear and listen to outliers that are doing the thing that seemed crazy, doing the thing that nobody else was doing. And so that's what we do on Soul to Soul podcast. That's what it's all about, connecting with people on a soul level to talk about that path to becoming, because we don't become one thing. And I love Michelle Obama said that, like, we become multiple things in our life. We get to become multiple things. So we need the fuel to keep going, to continue to evolving, so that we can be making movies like Rob out here. So you can connect with me on Soul to Soul podcast on Instagram, on Facebook. And then you can also just email me at simone.e.swanson@gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you all. Octavio, bring us home for today.
Absolutely. So yeah, the insight is definitely keep going after your rest. So I was Simone, I was in a seasonal rest. Like I haven't done any content because I felt that like I needed to find I needed to redirect myself. So now like this conversation here, this whole podcast that just flew by, like we all mentioned, it just got me fired up after all this rest. So I'm like, I'm ready to keep going. So I appreciate this opportunity to be here and to share this platform with so many people, with all of you in different parts of the world, and that we're able to bring together. So it's amazing how technology connects us. Yeah, you can find my I'm on YouTube, the Port ENT, and then I'm also on Instagram. I'm not on Spotify or any other platform right now. I just on focus on visual content right now. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you all. Like, honestly, it's been a joy and a pleasure and an honor to be in space with you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting yourselves so that you can keep showing up. I would not have found you had you not taken action, had you not shown up as leaders. And I just want to say, like, I see you, I acknowledge you, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you for the work that you do. And remember this until the next time that we talk here, be you on purpose. Journey on.